Okay, we're going to call the board meeting to order. Please stand for the pledges of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Bell.
Here.
Trustee Burns. Here. Trustee Coleman.
Here.
Trustee Grant.
Here.
Trustee Jasinski. Here. Trustee Williams. Here.
Okay, I don't have anything.
Mr. Mayor, executive session.
For.
I'd like to make a motion that we amend the agenda of the executive session to the end of the agenda at item 13. So.
Well, she made him vote.
Second.
All right, it was moved by Trustee Williams, second by Trustee Jasinski. Madam Clerk.
Trustee Bell.
Yes.
Trustee Burns. Yes. Trustee Coleman.
Yes.
Trustee Grant.
Yes.
Trustee Jasinski.
Yes.
Trustee Williams. Yes.
Motion carried. I'll ask approval of minutes. I'll ask for a motion to approve the journal proceedings of the board meeting held on March 14, 2023.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Trustee Jasinski, second by Trustee Bell. Any questions? Madam Clerk.
Trustee Burns. Yes. Trustee Coleman.
Yes.
Trustee Grant.
Yes.
Trustee Jasinski.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Bell.
Yes. Motion carried. I'll ask for a motion to approve the journal proceedings for the special meeting held on March 21st, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Jasinski, second by Trustee Williams. Any questions? Madam Clerk.
Trustee Coleman.
Yes.
Trustee Grant.
Yes.
Trustee Jasinski.
Yes.
Trustee Williams. Yes. Trustee Bell.
Yes.
Trustee Burns. Yes.
Motion carried. I'll ask for a motion to approve the journal proceedings for the board meeting of March 21st, 2023.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Bell, second by Trustee Jasinski. Any questions? Madam Clerk.
Trustee Grant.
Yes.
Trustee Jasinski.
Yes.
Trustee Williams.
Yes.
Trustee Bell.
Yes.
Trustee Burns. Yes. Trustee Coleman.
Yes. Okay, motion is carried. Public comment. All comments must be directed to the mayor. Each speaker may comment on any item concerning the business of the village of Sauk Village. Each speaker is allowed one opportunity to speak for up to 3 minutes and may not engage in debate, counter replies, or rebuttals. I'll answer all questions once all public comments have concluded. Please state your name when you come up.
Good evening, everyone. Larry Sapp. I have a question, Mayor. With regard to, I've seen that you're appointing the senior accountant to the to be interim finance director, and I'm trying to understand the logic behind it, because this is a person who's under investigation, who disappeared at the same time the $10,000 disappeared, who has not did a bank rec, who has no municipal experience, period, and you're appointing this person now to take charge, the very person who's actually made matters worse. I'm trying to understand the logic in this. Could you please tell the residents how you're managing our funds by allowing this thing to get, it's getting worse, Mayor. It's getting worse. It's getting worse, and you're putting people in charge of our finances that can't even do the job they're paid to do. I'm just trying to understand, if this person has that experience, can you please share it with us? Because to my knowledge, that person has no experience and is not qualified to be finance director, in fact, should be terminated.
Anyone else? All right, in answer to your question, be very careful who you accuse people of what they're doing, because that, what you just said is a liable statement. But I felt that the person that I appointed was qualified. I don't know how you would feel or how you would be in a position to know if this person is or is not qualified. They meet all the criteria that was asked, is asked for that position. And I was looking for someone, and it's good that we should be glad to have this person. They're here already, they already know what needs to be done, they can get right in and start working. But to make that statement like that, to say that they were involved in a crime of stealing or whatever, I don't know how you feel about saying something like that, but that was my decision, and I think that this person is qualified to hold that position as a finance director. If I didn't, I wouldn't have done that. Okay. Okay, next item is the reports of officers. As was just stated, and all of the trustees know about the position of finance director. I did appoint Ms. Renee Lewis as the interim finance director. I sent that out to everyone, to the trustees through the clerk Monday. Also, I just wanted to say the Easter egg hunt that we had Saturday was a success. Again, we had about, maybe a couple hundred kids, and they was able to get rid of 5,000 eggs in a half hour. I think it was quicker than that, to tell you the truth. But it was really a success. The weather was nice. It was real cold outside. And I'm glad. And we had the Easter Bunny. And the Easter Bunny was there, and it took a lot of pictures. So I just wanted to say kudos to those that came out and enjoyed themselves. Everyone is asking about the mask. As I stated before, at the end of this month, we will go maskless. So we only have 2 more weeks left, and starting in May, we can relax. But masks are still optional if you choose to wear one. That being said, Madam Clerk,
I sure do. Guys, gear up. I have quite a bit to say tonight. First one, I'm giving a reminder that Student Governance Day will take place April the 25th, right here in the Rotunda. As requested before, I need each person's report. And if you could just give me the report, I would say by next Wednesday, that would really help me a great deal, because you have to think about all the things that needs to be done to pull together Student Governance Day, but then that Saturday right before it, we have another event that I'll be talking about in a couple of minutes. So if you can give me your reports, I am going to ask the chiefs and those of you who are dependent on a strict timeline in terms of the data that you provide during your report. Give me the report, leave a blank space, for instance, calls for service, just leave a blank there. And then that night, we can fill it in so that the young person can read your report as you would normally read it. Can we agree that I will get everybody's report? by next Wednesday. I do want to say kudos to Trustee Jasinski because she has turned her report in already, and I thank you very much for that. Woo-hoo. The next thing is something that we talked about before also, and we know that Earth Day is coming very soon, and with Earth Day, we clean the village. I have asked the Director of Operations to contact IDOT to ask them to clean I-394, and I'd suggested all the way down to Steger Road and Sauk Trail. However, Director Finch stated that we should really request that they go all the way down to Lincoln Highway, and I have absolutely no problem with that because our residents should not have to see all of that litter coming and going home. I need on that day also a couple of captains, and the captain would be the person, some of you, who will lead a group of people to clean a particular area that you will be assigned. So if you can let me know if you would agree to be a captain, and it does not have to be trustees and officers and directors. It could be residents in the field as well. Our residents can assist with that as well. Forgive me. Voter turnout. I really think that I worked overtime with this election in trying to get the news out. I mean, the information that I shared in terms of the candidates, not just those that were running in the village of Sauk Village proper, but those who were running that represent any facet, Bloom Township, Bloom Trail. I did, Prairie State. I researched all of those candidates and brought that out to people with the hopes that it would build some excitement and you would get out there and vote. Well, last week on election night, the turnout was reported as we had only did 5%. I'm pleased to say, as of the 10th, which was yesterday, we're all the way up to, I'm sorry, we're up to 7% now. So really, that means less than 500 people voted, okay? So I'm not discouraged, we just have to keep moving forward. And I just need all the trustees and everybody that's within my voice hearing to do whatever you can during the next election as well, so that turnout is not as dismal as it is. Even though it was updated yesterday on the Cook County Clerk's site, I will not post and report on our actual winnings, even though we had no competition, so everybody already know, but I respect positions, and I am awaiting Cook County Clerk's office to provide that direction after they finish doing what's called canvassing. Let's move on to talk about vehicle and animal tax. You all asked for it, and we are doing it. During the pandemic, we were delayed a lot. Last year, we were delayed a couple of weeks because we couldn't get material. This time, we may or may not be delayed, but if so, it would only be for one day. So we're really looking at sales for vehicle stickers as well as animal tags to take place either May 1st, May 2nd, or May 3rd. I have everything ready to go. I submitted to Trustee Williams and Director Finch earlier today the information to go in the water bill and the Sauk talk respectively. But then I will be, putting information out so that our residents know exactly what to expect. Bottom line is they're going to have 9 weeks. They're going to have 9 weeks to purchase their stickers, and Chief, I will be getting that information to you as well so that you can share it with your guys. Again, we're having the newly elected officials orientation on the 19th. If there is something that a director or a chief or someone would have the new trustees to know, I don't mind, providing you some time so that you can come and talk to them directly, only if you want. This is not an ask, but if it's something that you think would be beneficial, you're more than welcome to do so. The attorneys, if you think it would be beneficial for you to talk about process procedures, finance director, I can give anybody 10 minutes, no more, because I like to talk, if you can tell. So I need all my time. Okay, Mr. Mayor, that completes my report. Thank you very much for your indulgence.
Thank you. Village Treasurer Anthony Finch.
Thank you, Mayor, Madam Clerk, Board of Trustees. The cash balance as of 4/7/2023 is as follows in the unrestricted funds. Corporate account, $1,388,181. Reserve account, $821,459. The water sewer account, $2,060,882. The water e-pay account, $756,171. The senior center, $657,000, for a total unrestricted funds of $5,037,350. In the restricted funds is as follows: CN account, $29,399. DEA account, $14,993. Sauk Village Housing, $17. The TIF account, $236,802. The toll account, $13,776. The holding account, $18,253. The spending drug account, $23,908. The spending money account, $900. And the MFT account, $12,522, for a total restricted funds of $350,570. That concludes my report.
Question. Trustee Debbie.
Mr. Finch, a couple weeks ago, you said the line of credit will be paid back March 31st.
Yes. There's no available line of credit as of right now. So it's not available. I think they still have to get some documents signed, but it's not available. We don't have any, we don't have the access to the $500,000 to use.
Thank you.
Trustee Grant.
So, Mr. Finch, so you said we paid the line of credit back. We paid it off the corporate account? Because that number seems like...
No, I don't think they actually have taken it out of the corporate account.
Okay.
Right now, I think it's just froze for them to get the money back, but no, we have not taken it out.
So essentially, this number here, we should minus $500,000.
Eventually, yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. And so my second question is, since we did pay that back, which is good, what about the money from the sale of the land? When is that going to hit?
The land and logistics center,
Correct.
that won't take place. We're in the process with both attorneys, our attorney and their attorney, to get even though the board approved it, to get an agreement. Once that agreement is signed off by both attorneys, reviewed by both attorneys, then it goes to the mayor for signature, and at that point, they can cut us a check for it. So I anticipate no later than mid-May, because we did meet with the developer. He wants to try to get started as soon as possible, but there's, the other hurdles he has to go through, mainly with WMDRD.
Trustee Coleman.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Finch, it sounded like under unrestricted funds for the senior center, sounded like you said $657,000, but even the number that I'm looking at looks kind of...
You know what, Trustee Coleman, I think you're right. It's more than $657. It's probably $600,000, I'm sorry. So I would double check and correct that and have that sent out via the clerk tomorrow, the right dollar amount. But it's more than $600.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. My apologies.
Trustee Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Finch, in your absence last week, we had someone approach the podium, and they had some concerns. And since you are present today, and since we are in a public meeting, I would like to ask you to confirm the fact that on several occasions for the past several months, We have been going to you, asking you financial questions regarding the budget, regarding the audits, regarding bank reconciliations, and several other things having to do with the finance department. We've done our due diligence by reaching out to you because the mayor said you were the person in charge that we needed to reach out to. We also, according to your job description, expected you to have those answers because you're supposed to be in charge of day-to-day operations. However, I feel that you were improperly slandered last week because the person basically said and stated your salary at the meeting, stated that you weren't doing your job, and why were we questioning the mayor when we should have been questioning you? So publicly, Mr. Finch, I'd like you to say, have we or have we not been trying to get answers from you for the finance department and have not been able to get the answers? And can you tell us publicly why you have not been able to give us that information?
To answer your first question, yes, I've been asked numerous times by various trustees regarding information about the finance department. I was even asked as recently as of this week. Last summer, it was told to me and brought to my attention to let the finance department be the finance department. And so, although you're correct, my job title say that I'm technically in charge of the various departments, I was asked to leave the finance department and let the finance do their own thing and not to intervene. So when I was asked to get finance information, the individuals that I needed to ask for it, basically I was told to leave it alone and not seek that information. That's their responsibility. So that's why I was not able to provide that information.
And the second point of that conversation, when they mentioned your salary and the jobs that you do, we have also been trying to get a new treasurer in here so that position can be relieved from you as well. And I know you have also been behind trying to find a new treasurer because you do hold 3 positions, one of which is the treasurer. And haven't you also been trying to have that job alleviated from your 3 positions? It's not like you're holding on to it. We just haven't found anybody to replace you in that position, correct?
Correct.
Okay, well, so you're not getting the answers from the finance department, and neither were we. That's all I wanted to make sure. So the gentleman last week, he misspoke and he misaligned you unnecessarily. Thank you.
And that's fine, but I do want to say, because this is like the second or third time that my salary has been questioned, and I can respect that. But what's not been questioned is you look at my counterparts. I know for a fact that my counterpart in Glenwood makes about the same. He does one job. I know my counterpart in Matson makes about the same. He does one job. And not only does he do one job, he has an assistant village administrator that's close to my same salary. I know my counterpart in Western Park makes the same money, one job. My previous employer for another village as a finance director, that young lady made close to my salary, one job. So it's amusing to me when I hear people say, I make all this money, but I have a master's, I have 8 years experience, and you can't knock my skill set if you're not able to do what I do and make the money that I make. Because whether it's here or another municipality, if the market pays what I make for one job, then it's just reasonable to think that I should get paid what I make for 2, 3 jobs. I will challenge anyone, and I've done this before in 2019, 2020, even to this day, for anyone to say that as long as I've been in this job, I have not performed. I still have residents in the streets come and thank me for trees, fire hydrants I haven't gotten fixed in 4 or 5 years. I had a lady that thanked me for a light that's been out for 8 years. So even on my way tonight, I talked to a resident that I talked to Mr. Cooper about getting their house situated, and they've been there since 2023. So, 2003. So it's amusing to hear that. It doesn't bother me because I earn what I earn, and I've said it in 19, and I said it in 20. If I'm not worth what I'm getting paid, then you guys don't have to pay me. I can, there's other municipalities, there's a corporation that will also pay me. But what's interesting, other professionals, whether it be attorneys, engineers, roofing or whatever, they never get questioned. But yet, because it's assumed they have the skill set. So my whole point is, challenge me on what I have not done, and not what you think I deserve to get paid, because just because you can't do it doesn't mean I shouldn't be able to get paid what I get paid. And I would challenge anybody, like I said before, my day starts at 6:30 in the morning. And you can ask my foreman, I was talking to him last night at 8:30. So I still do 10, 12 hours a day. So it's irrelevant to me what people think. As long as I feel like I get up every day and try to produce a good job and take the resident, and don't take the resident money for granted, I can care less. But I know my counterparts for one job get paid about the same what I'm doing, so it is what it
I
is.
appreciate that. I just want to know what a roofer would do if he wasn't given the tools to work with. Thank you.
Trustee, Burns, yeah.
Director Finch, I have a question. You kept repeating yourself by saying, someone told me to just not be involved with it. Someone, can you tell us who the someone is? Because from my understanding, and also from the mayor's own words, you are the director of operations, and that all department heads are to report to you. And the mayor said that to us as a board, open meeting and closed session, that you are the person to deal with all department heads. So who else is telling you, as the department, the director of operations, that you can be involved in the department that you are over?
Well, again, last fall, Human Resource as well as the mayor informed me to let finance be finance. That's why I didn't do the treasury report this year. That's why I didn't do the levy this past year. I mean, although those are tasks that I've done in the past. I wasn't asked about either one of those projects until the board found errors that was done in those particular reports. So that conversation was had during the summer, in the fall. So those are the individuals that advised me to leave it alone, which is kind of why we are where we are to this day.
And also, can you answer this question? Mayor, can I ask you a question? Have we had an ordinance or any type of paperwork to change your position or your authority to operate in the authority that you have been given according to your job description, dealing with the department heads?
Not that I'm aware of.
So, Mayor, may I ask you, why has he been told by yourself in HR that he cannot deal with the finance department if he's the director of operations of the computer?
You can ask, but as I stated before, and as Mr. Finch already knows, the reason why he was pulled away.
No, I don't know.
I'm just, you asked me a question.
Yes.
Okay. The reason why he was pulled away because he was doing too many different things. So at that time, we had a person that was able to take care of the finance department. And it was not that he was not allowed to do anything. I was just, he didn't have to worry about that on his plate at that time. So when he took the position of, and I saw that he was doing, and it was just stated 2 or 3 different things. I mean, you can't do all those and do them all the way they should be done. So yes, I asked him to back away from that. You can still ask questions. I never said that he couldn't ask questions. I don't know where that came from. But to be dealing with that on a daily basis, I told him, no, let the finance department take care of that part themselves. So that's where that came from. And then, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, I'm good.
So, if he is the director of operations, and trustees or anyone else have questions to ask him as the director of operations about finance, how is he to operate properly if he's not?
You have a finance director. Yes, you could ask that person at that time, whoever the finance director was. To be putting all that on his plate, as he just stated. I mean, there's a lot of different things, so to alleviate and try to let him be able to concentrate on the things that were right there that he could do, and let the finance, that's what the finance director is supposed to do, is take care of those things. And I didn't think that it wouldn't be advantageous for us to add more things on his plate. That's why I told him to continue doing what he was doing, but let the finance department, sure he can ask questions, sure he can find out what's going on and everything. Like you guys come in now and you ask, or you did come in and ask the finance director what was going on, and they try to make allowances when you come in to do that. So, but to say that he was told not to, no, I told him to concentrate on the other items that he was doing. The director, village administrator, public works, and treasurer. I thought that was enough.
Was that removed out of his job description?
The job description stayed the same. As I stated, it was not removed. I was saying that I wanted him to just concentrate on those two things.
So if he's concentrating on other things, I'm just there with him. He's concentrating on other things, and that is still a part of his job description. Why can't he operate in his job description? It was his job description when it started, when it's changed, that he can no longer continue the job description.
I said that he would not have to deal with that part. Not that he could not ask questions, yes he could. Not that he could find out what they're doing, yes he could. But to do day-to-day in the finance department takes a little bit. And for him to have to deal with that along with public works, along with the other departments that are here in the village, you got the water, you got the police department, fire department, and public works. And so to do all those different things, I thought it would be necessary to take one of those things away from his day-to-day duties. But he still had the duties of being director of operations.
Has the director of operations ever complained to you about that issue like for him to handle? That would make you?
Has he ever
take
complained?
Has he ever suggested?
What do you think, Trustee Williams? What
I was gonna ask the same thing, that's all, Mr. Mayor. She got to it for me, I did.
Has he ever complained or
No.
suggested that it was?
No, he didn't.
So can you tell me, Mr. Mayor, why did you make the decision for him?
I thought I just explained that. I did explain that the reason why I took that away from him. Doing that day to day. Not that he can't ask questions, not that he can't get involved. He's here if he needs questions asked, financially he would ask those questions. But I didn't hold him to that particular position to make sure I tried to contain it within the finance department. But we had a finance director at the time, and it is a lot to do, and so for him to have to deal with, because you got a lot of different things that go on in the finance department, a lot of different things. It's not that I relieved him of that duty, I just asked him to concentrate on the other things he was doing.
Oh, okay, so he hasn't been relieved.
There was no, I never said no, I don't know where that
So
came
he
from.
can continue to act.
Absolutely.
And he can continue to do it all with department heads and, as department
Where'd
heads.
you get that he can't do that?
I'm just trying,
Okay, because I'm just trying to figure out who said that he couldn't talk to other department heads.
oh, I just said he couldn't talk to
Oh,
department.
okay.
I just asked, because you just said he can maintain his position in his role, that means he can continue to deal with it.
And I said, yes, he could.
Including finance?
In the finance department, I asked the finance department at the time to step up and deal with, to take that away from him to have to deal with day-to-day operations on the finance department. No, I asked him to let the finance department do that. He can ask questions, he can be in charge, because he is the director of operations. So it's not something that I took away, I didn't take anything away from him.
Okay, so does the department head still have to answer to the director of operations?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I have one more thing I'd like to add.
Also, if y'all want to grill me, go ahead.
Thank you,
So
sir.
I'm here every day.
You are here every day.
You have to
and I
do it in
email
front of,
you
you have to do it in front
every
of.
day. We don't need to go back and forth, Mr. Mayor. You recognize me, and I'd like to make my statement.
Okay, make your
Of
statement.
all the departments that you needed to remove Mr. Finch from because he was supposedly overwhelmed, you chose finance. The finance department is in dire straits. On February 6th, and prior to that, we asked the previous finance consultant several times about our budgets and our audits. We are very concerned, our bank recs, and several times we did not get legitimate answers. We have not yet received a budget to actual. Our budget expires this month. We even asked when the previous finance consultant said on February 6th, she stated, all the bank recs will be done and the paperwork will be turned over to the auditor on February 20th, and the audit would be done at the end of March. That came, she has a report, it's a written report. That has not happened. Okay? We have not, we continue to ask for reports every week. We asked it to be listed on the committee agenda. It's not included on the board agenda. The trustees who are responsible for the residents' money are not being updated. We have not gotten a budget to actual that's factual at all, which I'm very concerned about because we're spending money every day. We have no idea where the bank recs are, and when we ask where we are with the bank recs, we get absolutely no answer. We're told that 4 different people are doing the bank recs, some of which that we don't even know if they've been properly trained. So I think of all the departments that Mr. Finch could have been relieved from, give him more time. Maybe he should have been stepped back from maybe Public Works for a minute and taken reign on the finance department. That would have been my choice if I had anything, but of course, we don't get to make decisions. We just have the aftermath of what happens when the finance department just totally blows up. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, corporate counsel, instead of Amber being here, Mr. Isley is here representing Ansel English. All right.
Thank you, Mayor. Britt Isley.
Britt Isley, yes.
We can't hear you, sir.
That mic's not on for some reason. It turns green. Would you help me?
Outside.
No, it should be green.
Hold the button until it turns green.
Thank you. Yes, Britt Isley for Antelope Lane, and I don't have an attorney report today. I just want to let you know that Amber regrets she can't be here. She had a death in the family, and it was completely unexpected. She had to attend with me. So I expect she'll be here at your next meeting in April.
Okay. Thank you. Village engineer Melanie Allen's not here. Who's reading her report? Okay.
Thank you, Mayor, Madam Clerk, Board of Trustees. This is a brief report from Roberts Engineer. We met about a week ago, myself, Amber, and one other member of her team, and we talked about the air stripper. So hopefully within a month or so, they will present us a proposal for improvement and also funding opportunities to get the air stripper replaced. Right now, the rough estimate is $1 million to $3 million to make the necessary changes to the air strippers, with a potential call for funding at the end of March 2024. Also, today, I forward the DECO grant back to Roberts Engineer, and what that is a potential $1 million grant to do water main replacement on Merrill Avenue between 221st and Strasburg. The design and construction of that is anticipated to be starting hopefully September, if not this October. So we'll have more information for that forthcoming. And finally, the last thing we worked on, the last 3 years, we was trying to do crack sealing. We have not been able to do crack sealing, so we are working to find about 3 miles of streets in Sauk Village that can be done for crack sealing. That's anticipated to start come August. With that, that's concluded my report.
You have a question? And before you get started, is there a reason why you only want to wear a mask?
You said it was optional.
I said it was optional at the end of the month.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said it was optional tonight.
No,
Oh,
I said
beg your
after
pardon.
that,
I thought
after
you
that
said
it'll be
tonight.
optional.
Yes, sir. I will put my mask right on.
That's not cute, what y'all.
No, I just-
No, it's not. It's, I mean, really. Okay, go ahead. Trustee.
Director Finch, you mentioned water strips. Can you explain to me what water strips are?
The air strippers,
Oh, air strips.
pretty much they are the system that we currently use in the village to help clean out the water, the impurities in our water. So it's a process system that the water, because we all know we got groundwater. So it's a process that when the water come up, they put the chemicals in it, and it goes through a process of cleaning out, and it's like an air filter, but it's for water. So it's a system that we use, and it's been in place for about 12 years now. So it's having issues. It's not a major issue, but it's time to replace some parts or replace the whole new system. So it's a system that we use to clean our water, help clean the water.
So without these air strippers, are you saying that
No, it would be, the water is chemically treated, like all water, with the chloride and other potassium, I think that is what's in it. But this was put in place 12 years ago because it was an issue that came up with the village. So it was an EPA requirement done 12 years ago. It's kind of one of those situations where you might can not have it, but because it's already there, leave it alone and keep doing it because it's providing a necessary service, but it's not necessarily required now because of the other systems with the chemical treatment that's been in place. And we currently sample our water like every day, and then every 2 weeks, I think, they actually send samples up to Elgin for the EPA to actually test our water.
You said that was EPA required.
Yes, roughly 12 years ago, yes.
You think it was still EPA required?
They just came out a year ago to check our system, so yes, I don't think they're gonna allow the village to get rid of them because it's already in place.
So if something is EPA required and we're not, and we don't give these air strippers in time to make sure our water is EPA required, what does that mean to the village if we're not EPA?
And this part I'm only speculating. I would assume that if we are not EPA compliant, then we probably get fines and fees. But as of right now, we are compliant. I think they came out like maybe last July, and this coming June, there will be a report that goes on our website once a year that our foreman does to make sure that everything is in compliance with what EPA is asking as far as the chemicals and everything and how we treat our water. So if for whatever reason the air stripper failed, I think the long short answer would be we probably would get some kind of notice from EPA.
Okay, and then that is the $1 to $3 million grant that you were speaking of?
No, that funding more likely would be an EPA loan. We have one from when we built this air stripper. So the proposal that will be presented by Robert's engineer hopefully in the next month or so, it would be for us to eventually go out to get another loan, roughly a 30-year loan. That would range between at least $1 million on the low end to potential up to $3 million, if not more, to replace the whole system. $1 million is a rough estimate that they talked about to replace like parts. Because right now, the air stripper we have are serviced by a Canadian company. For instance, they came, I want to say about 2 weeks ago, and just to come to look was like $6,000 because we pay for all the transportation and everything. So the plan is to either switch the parts out to be able to use a local company, so we don't have to worry about that, or rebuild the whole infrastructure. Because one of the things that EPA is requiring, they want the system to be on temperature control. Because like during the winter now, there's condensation to build up. So that's one of the things that they said we need to transition away from, so we don't have that issue going forward.
Thank you, Director Finch. We have so many villagers that complain about the hardness of our water and the condition. So I just wanted you to give us a really good backdrop as to these air strips and how important they are to our water supply. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Before we go further, it's not EPA, it's IEPA, Illinois.
Illinois, yes.
EPA is a little bit different. I mean, they're the same, but Illinois Environmental
Correct.
Protection Agency is the one that came out and did all of these studies and had us to do what we had to do. Who's next? Trustee Grant?
So, Mr. Finch, correct me, well, I think maybe the mayor knows this. A few years ago, when we did have the air strippers originally, we did get a loan from IEPA, and then it was low interest loan, and they repaid. I think they forgave most of that loan. Is that right? So I mean, it's possible that I'm not saying that we have to pay it back. I mean, we should go into this assuming we will pay it back, but it is very possible they probably could forgive it, just like they did the previous loan.
Correct.
Possible.
That was a political aspect. Person that forgave most of it was running for office. He didn't get in, so we ended up paying some of it ourselves. I think we got 80% of it forgiven. So we'll see. Trustee Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My concern is, could you speak to Melanie about our audits being outdated as far as 2021 audit not being completed? These are things that have to be done within the next year. Where do we stand with how far behind can we be in the audit and still be able to apply for this grant money or this loan for these operations, okay?
Well, speaking with her today, the max is 2 years.
So you have to be within 2 years, having your 2 years of audits, no more than 2 years behind.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. For both of these, for the grant and the...
Not the loan, just for the grant, and we're also working on another $400,000 grant that hopefully will be presented to the board next month as well.
And that's 2 years as well?
Yes.
As far as we can't be behind more than 2 years?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, reports of departments. Police Department Chief Malcolm White.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Madam Clerk, Village Board. Calls for service report tonight from March 29th until this afternoon. The department responded to more than 395 calls for service. During that same time period, we made 15 arrests. I just recently updated a confidential report. I sent you all emails. So we're currently in the middle of an investigation. I'm going to read off what I sent to because normally whenever just so you guys know the process, and I know we have new trustees in, when something initially happens, I send the board information, it's confidential information. Until a news media requests it, I don't do a press release. Because ultimately, yes, there's certain things that people know, but a lot of times it's some of that confidential information. Some of these are serious incidents and they're family issues. Just like you wouldn't want your family's information to be put out there. Other people have a right to privacy too. But when the news media calls, that's when you see me. I'll then do an update and follow up, or if something makes it to where it's, so heavy, I guess, with rumors, then I'll also do an update, because at that point it's, rather than let it grow legs, then we'll do an update, and it's basically another press release. So the press release that I just released was just, matter of fact, that's why I was late, dealing with ABC and another media source. On April 9th, at approximately 11:24, Sauk Village officers responded to a call of shots fired in the 1800 block of 223rd Street. Responding officers discovered an unresponsive 19-year-old gunshot victim in the front yard of the victim's residence. The victim was pronounced deceased at the scene. The South Suburban Major Crimes Task Force is assisting the Saukville police detectives, of which we're a member of the team, in investigating the incident. This is an active and open investigation. This appears to be a targeted incident, which means it's isolated. Anyone with information or additional information about this incident should contact the Saukville Police Department Crime Tip Hotline at 708-475-3679. That's 708-475-3679. That hotline is also on the website, and the press release will also be put on the Neighbors app as well. Mr. Mayor, Madam Clerk, Village Board, that concludes my report for tonight.
Thank you. Trustee Burns?
Do you have a copy, or may we have a copy of the police report that was filed under the investigation of the missing money at the time? Do you have a copy of that?
Any type of investigation that's ongoing, there's minimal information available, but if you would like to discuss that, we can discuss it, but it wouldn't be discussed in open forum because it's an open case.
Mr. Mayor.
Trustee Williams?
Thank you. That case has been open since July of last year. I also would like to talk to you about that, because it seems like I want to know why it's taking so long, number one. I'd like a copy of the police report, number two, but I also wanted to know, I don't know if you know, if the mayor knows, have we filed this loss of $10,000 with our insurance company, and is it recoverable? That's a substantial amount of money.
That's definitely something that we should discuss,
Yes.
and the results of which will be released in time. But again, especially with it being an open investigation and an open forum, I wouldn't discuss that.
Okay, so we can meet privately.
Yes, we can discuss that.
Okay, that's fine. But I also had another question before Trustee Burns brought that up. My family has been involved in 3 high-speed chases within the past few weeks, one of which was a family member of mine. The car got stolen from a local establishment, okay, and her car was stolen and subsequently used in some things that I won't go into beyond her control. The second thing was I have witnessed a car leaving another local establishment on a high-speed chase where the car basically drove down Sauk Trail riding on a tire, basically. Okay, so my husband and I were this close to having that car hit us by trying to run away from the officers. The third one we witnessed was further down Sauk Trail a few days later. My concern is if I was involved in 3 incidences, if my family was involved in 3 incidents with high-speed chases, we need to be more, in my opinion, communicative to our residents and let them know these things are happening in our community. Because the only reason I know they happen, because I didn't hear it from anywhere else, is because my family was involved. And there's a lot of people whose families weren't involved. So ladies, don't leave your keys in your car when you run into an establishment. We all know this and we all do it anyway. Okay, and please be more careful wherever you are.
Well, okay, I can appreciate that, absolutely. One of the things that I guess I could comment on that, number one, throughout the south suburbs and even basically throughout the suburbs at this point, because we've had to deal with people from the north suburbs and west suburbs, you have what you've invested in is the flock cameras. And they've been installed and they've been posted. And every time any vehicle involving criminal activity goes past one of these cars, one of these cameras, it sets off their location and direction. But it's our policy that, number one, we do not just frivolously engage in chases. That doesn't mean just because these people or the car is stolen that we just automatically chase it. We do not do that. What happens is the sergeant on duty makes an evaluation of the crime that was committed that the vehicle is involved in. Quite frankly, a stolen vehicle is kind of the least of our concerns because people have insurance. I don't want to risk citizens' lives and the officers' lives or even a teenager who's joyriding their life in that case. As you know, this city and several other cities have had past litigation where people have gotten injured as a result of different type of high-speed pursuits. There is a time to do it, and there's a time for them to call it off. We call off way more than we ever engage in. In fact, it's not as frequent as people believe, but the problem is, like you said, if you see it, it's like, whoa, is this going on all the time? Unfortunately, the good thing is it's starting to remove that element from our neighborhoods, and it's not just in Sauk Village, it's also happening in neighboring towns as well. But the element that's coming out here, like for instance, you said that there's a lot of stolen vehicles. Most of those, I'd argumentatively say 90%, if not more, were not from here. That just happened to be an issue from that one. But the bulk of these vehicles are from carjackings from other towns and in Chicago, and for some reason they gravitate towards this area. And so in order for us to keep our citizens safe, and a lot of times what happens is when these people do steal a car, what you'll see is it's also involved in other crimes, other violent crimes. In those cases, we have to weigh whether it's more important to get these people off the street. And again, we also weigh time of day. How many people are out? That person's speed. It's just not worth it, quite frankly, for us to chase every and anything. And that was the policy that I brought when I started my tenure here. But I do appreciate that. But yes, that's one of the reasons I have Chat for a Chief every Thursday.
I thought I'd let you get that plug in, Chief.
Yeah, thank you. But that's why, you absolutely want to be vigilant. And yes, it's the times we live in. And we know everyone growing up, there was a time when you'd leave your door unlocked, your car unlocked, whatever. For whatever reason, the economy and times have changed. And quite frankly, those are things that we teach at our chat with the chief, is crime prevention and being less of a victim. Also, just be cognizant when you're driving. It's not just here. In fact, I'm more comfortable here in Sauk Village when I drive because it doesn't have as much traffic as other places. But if you're on the expressway, for goodness sake, you gotta just watch your rearview mirror. Get out of some of these people's way. I don't, you know, unfortunately, for whatever reason, speeding, especially on the expressways, and reckless driving has picked up since the pandemic. I guess because, quite frankly, during the pandemic, the state police and everyone else, we only interacted when there were serious violent crimes. But ultimately, just to keep you and yourself safe and your family safe, just especially when you're driving, just watch your rearview mirrors, be careful, be cautious, and again, I mean, we're here out here to protect you. I mean, we are transparent, but when it comes to certain investigations, we have to, you know, hold certain things tight.
And Chief, I just want to say I do appreciate your officers were very diligent in all three of those. I wasn't referring to the police department. I was referring to communication. I mean, that's 3 instances that my family was aware that other people need to know just what you said. This is becoming more prevalent, not only in our community, but elsewhere. I mean, I was involved in a hit and run 2 hours ago in Dyer. I was 2 cars behind the car getting hit. So I witnessed that one, and I followed the car that hit the car, and I followed them in Dyer, and I got their license plate. So I'm one of those that I will track you down if you do something like that. Your officers did a great job. I was talking more about communication, sir, than
I appreciate that.
about your officers. They did do a
Thank
great
you.
job in all three. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Coleman has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Thank you, Chief. Last week I had some questions directed to the mayor that he couldn't answer, and so now I'm taking this opportunity to go directly to the source. I just have a couple of questions regarding the $10,000 theft investigation. Okay, do you know? Do you know off the top of? Do you know generally when did that investigation start?
I'll say this. It would be more appropriate for us if you wanted to, at one of your executive sessions, the answers that I could answer, I will. The ones that I cannot, I'll let you know that I cannot. But again, if it's an open investigation, especially if it's involving a village right now, you know, I think that would be more appropriate to, if you're going to do the preliminary, because that's what it sounds like.
But the question is just simply, when did the investigation start?
I don't have the date directly in front of me. I would have to check the report. You know what? I thought I sent the email. I thought I sent an email.
When?
It had to be I want to say last fall or something. I don't want to speculate. I sent it several months ago. Yeah, there was an email.
Okay, so it was last year, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, last year, roughly, I would say in September. Well,
Yeah.
How soon will you know? I mean,
I'd rather be accurate. I'd have to look through my emails, or if you could look through yours. But again, if you guys would like to discuss this in executive session, I think it would be more appropriate.
okay.
Well, I thought that was first on the agenda.
Is that a question?
Yeah, I'm looking at an email.
Trustees, Mr. Mayor, rather, I'd like just to share something with you in terms of a number of the questionings that's taking place now. Generally, these type of discussions that we're engaging in right now are for committee meetings as well as the Chief said, an executive session in this case. We're moving toward not having a board meeting where we definitely get the updates from the staff, but more so than anything, it is designed to vote and approve items that were discussed at committee meetings. The chief has said a couple of times, and forgive me, Mr. Mayor, for coming to the defense of, but he's mentioned twice that he was not prepared to talk about the loss or the theft of the $10,000. Yet we're still asking him the questions. He even stated that he can't tell you when the report was filed, but still we're asking that question. It's not good to put people on the spot. We did it with a couple of people this evening. One person who was not here last week probably does not have a clue what you all were talking about, because I wasn't here last week either. But I know that we all have a quest to have information, but there's a proper time and place for that. And in all instances, the board meeting is not it. And I know that I've stated this before, and a couple of people took exception to it, but it's the honest to God truth that I'm saying. The board meeting is not just a question and answer session. Both of them come to committee meetings and give us updates, reports whenever we ask for them. Ask for them to be on a committee agenda so that then they can give and be prepared to give you the information that you seek and the information that you're entitled to, but it's not putting them on the spot. So I'm sorry if anybody feels that I'm out of order and you want to discount what I'm saying, but I'm going to say it over and over again and drill it down until we understand the difference between a committee of the whole meeting and a board meeting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for allowing me to say that.
Mr. Mayor, I for one do discount what the village clerk said until I can find that in writing, because we have done this as long as I have been a part of this board, since 2009. This is when we have our department heads in front of us, and this is the time that we get to ask them questions. We don't always have the opportunity to call them to a committee meeting per se, and I think, yes, the chief did say he could not speak to it, and somebody kept addressing it. That's one thing. But to say that we cannot address our department heads at a board meeting, I don't think, I mean, I was the clerk for 8 years.
Mr.
and I
Mayor,
said,
that's not what I said.
Madam Clerk.
That's not what I said. Now, and I want to be decent and in order, but please don't talk, don't say something that I did not say. Don't speak for me if you're not going to be factual. Now, I've been really wonderful for this last month. Don't let me have to go back. I've been prayed up, all of that, trying to handle my things decently and in order. Let me continue. Know that when you're out of order, I'm going to call you out of order.
And
Thank
you're out
you.
of order, Madam Clerk, because you interrupted me.
Okay, what we're going to do at this point in time is move forward.
Yeah, of course.
What you mean, yeah, of course?
It's
You all just want to argue? You just want to argue? That's all you want to do is argue back and forth, Trustee Williams?
Why did you both discount?
I said, but that's what you want to do is argue back and forth. I said we're
I had the floor.
I said we're going to put this debate to an end. We just going back and forth. That's all
So
I'm
what I
saying.
say doesn't matter.
You said what you wanted to say.
For 4 years. Go ahead.
You said what you wanted to say. We're going back and forth. We're not going to keep doing that. Trustee Jasinski, you have your hand raised.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can we request that the chief of police be at a committee meeting next week and talk to us and give us an update?
That's
in
not a
executive
problem.
session
That's
about
not a
the
problem.
theft?
That's not a problem. But we're not going to go back and it. Thank you, Madam Clerk. So rude. Fire department. Did you want to read this, Trustee Bell?
The report is dated March the 28th, 2023. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the period of March 23rd, 2023 through April 10th, 2020, or April 10th, 2023. The fire department responded to 116 calls of service with no major incidents. The fire department would like to thank everyone for coming out to support the Easter Bunny Pancake Breakfast. Also, the fire department will be having their annual golf outing June the 17th at Lincoln Oaks Golf Course in Crete. Cost is $125 per player, and if you book a foursome, you get $50 off. Contact the fire station 708-758-2225. Ask for Chief Barrett. And as a reminder, as we are anxiously awaiting spring weather, please keep in mind Mother Nature throws us curveballs, and it always reminds us that winter is still out there. So please, in inclement weather, check on your neighbors. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Director of Operations, Mr. Anthony Finch. I'm sorry. My fault. Finance Department, Ms. Renee Lewis, do you have anything to say as Interim Finance Director? Oh, do you have a question?
Oh, we can't do questions, Trustee Green.
Trustee Williams, who said that? Who said that we can't do questions?
So we can do questions?
Now you're trying to be silly now. I didn't say nothing about come by. I said we're not going to debate back and forth.
Oh, okay, but we can ask questions. Wonderful.
Oh, when the camera goes, you this HBO Max.
Mr. Mayor, I was interrupted when I was speaking.
Because I asked, because we're not going back and forth.
Great, I got questions.
Okay, go ahead, ask her question.
No,
Director Lewis, on the accounts payable, the memo sheet, for accounts under review, we have the Bright Star balance of $24,000. I'm just gonna make an assumption that that's gonna be the first payment for the new contract. That's why it's under review.
AP to speak because that was a question.
They can't hear you.
Because I know that the monthly payment is 15,000, so the extra, I'm trying to figure out where that come from. She's not here. Well, it's 30.
She said she's going to ask she said.
That's the question I have for the AP specialist because she wasn't here Friday, Monday, or today. So I know that the monthly payment is 15,000, so I'm just trying to figure out where the other portion is. That's why it's not getting paid.
Trustee Williams, you have a question?
yes, sir. Thank you. Ma'am, could you tell us where we are with the budget to actual and the new budget going in? How soon we're going to get started with that? And where we are with the bank recs? Thank you.
So I was just appointed to this position yesterday. So the budget to actual, when I went to the fiscal operation was for that we announced. The actual budget for next fiscal year hasn't been started yet. So it's a policy practice I'm gonna have.
That mic does work. Just hold up.
It's a policy I'm gonna have to do because we're still short of one staff. So I'm doing senior accountant work now plus director of finance work, plus sending to the front office, payroll, and AP.
Trustee Coleman.
Question. Mr. Lewis, would you say at this time it would be a good idea to allow Director of Operations to come in and help out? Would that help?
I'm just gonna say this. When Mr. Finch asked me questions, I answered those questions. So I was never asked for a budget to action. If you can ask my clerk, when she asked me for her budget to action, I gave her budget to action within 1 or 2 days after her asking me. If I was asked for those questions, I would have gave the information. I'm very transparent.
Mm-hmm. So what I was trying to get at is, because you're saying now you have 2 positions, correct? Okay. Maybe would you, if Director Finch would be willing, would you allow him to help you?
I'm always open for this.
Okay.
If I have questions, I ask them. Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I didn't see your hand up. Okay, Trustee Barton.
So what we listed is the senior accountant, right? Senior accountant position. And then you also the director of finance.
Okay, so, Director of Finance.
Can you give us, and you just got this position on last yesterday. So prior to being the interim director of finance,
So me and Trustee Williams had a meeting I want to say the week before, on Friday. And I stated to you that majority, the bank records are completed outside of the investment account and the water account and the corporate account. I'm not gonna attest to the memo that's keep being brought up for $78,000. I'm not gonna speak on that. But I'm not gonna speak on the memo that when I watched this board meetings, I brought up the $78,000. I don't know where the $78,000 came from. What I can attest to is when I'm trying to tie out the bank statement, money is not making it to the bank. So I can't reconcile something that's not clear. If the money was received, but the money have not made it to the bank, only thing we can do is speculate that it's not good. And I stated that to you and Trustee Williams, and I'm one person. So if I'm working on two big accounts where the money is not making it to the bank, I'm happy to train someone else to help me with that. And I'm sorry. To say how am I to train someone else? I hold a dual master's degree in accounting and financial management. So I'm very capable to do the job. I've been a controller, I've been a director of finance as well.
Okay. All right,
One question, Senior Counsel. So like you're saying, in our meeting, the money is logged into the system, that the cash is logged in, and you say the cash navigated to the bank. Is that a situation where the cash is, someone has to take the cash to the bank? Is there a record of who's supposed to take this cash to the bank and bring back the deposit tickets? We have a log record of that. So basically at this point, the money portion of it is a wash. You have to write it off. Is that basically what you're saying?
When it comes to
When it comes to audit.
I'm going to try to find out what happened.
So,
And since it happened in 2021, I can't attest to what happened, why they didn't do it. That's something you have to speak with the person that will oversee the department.
okay. All right, now Director of Operations, Anthony Finch.
Thank you, Mayor, Madam Clerk, Board of Trustees. Before I read my report, let me address a couple of things that was just kind of alluded to a few minutes ago. With respect to the $78,000, I am being accused of being the one that was, as was just alluded, in charge of the department at that time. And I have been the one accused of stealing this money. So I will put that on record. That have been stated, documented, that I'm the individual. However, that didn't come to light till February 2023. I will state that the person that was in charge of that department in all of 2022, who has vast experience and knowledge, should not have waited till February 2023 to bring to light that I may have done anything inappropriate. Now, I've done several audits myself, and I've been through the process of doing bank reconciliation. Actually, the template that is currently being used in Sauk Village is a template that I brought to Sauk Village in 2019. So I think I have understanding on how to do bank recs. So with that being said, when you first start doing a bank rec, for those that do not know, you start with the first month to get to the 12th month. In the first month, if it's not balancing, especially with cash, you as a senior person of knowledge make a decision. You do not spend the next 12 months trying to figure out if the first month ties out. So if I'm accused of doing something, that should have been brought to my attention first as a director of operation. And it also should have been brought to the powers that be. Now I will say this, because I feel that it's very offensive that I've been accused of doing something as egregious as $78,000. Because if you go back in time, when I first started, I said to the residents, I value your money as if it was my own, and I still do. So the process of a bank rec starts with the first month. And as I told members before, the first month was in May of 2020. If you don't reconcile the first month, you can't do June, July, so forth and so on. So my question, and unfortunately that person cannot answer it, and now Ms. Lewis is in charge of it, and it's not fair for her to answer it. Why wasn't it made a decision then when you couldn't reconcile May, or even if you went to June? So that's the question I would like to get answered, as opposed to when I'm asked by the trustees about the bank recs. Yes, they are not done. The main one, the general one, which is the big one. So until that one gets resolved, we can't get the audit started. So what I recommend as a DO, whatever the issue is, reconcile it, write it off, and notate it, and give it to the auditors. Then, when the audit in 2021 is complete, I would recommend, like I have done before, do a forensic audit on 2021. And if it's found that I did steal the money, take the appropriate action. However, if it's found that I know it will be found that I did not steal the money, then I gladly would take the appropriate action. Because as I alluded earlier, be careful of how you accuse somebody and defaming them. And this $78,000 is constantly being repeated, and it started, interestingly enough, at $37,000 last year. So to answer your question, Trustee Williams, until the general bank account get done, there's no audit to get started. So what I would recommend that you direct Ms. Lewis to do, whatever the decision is, write it off, notate it, and let the auditors, when they come in and do their work, because they're going to check the bank account, Trustee Burns, they're going to check the bank statement, they're going to send confirmation letter to the banks and ask. So instead of having Ms. Lewis take the unnecessary time to go through these 12 months of bank statement, just write it off. Because like I said earlier, we're trying to get $1 million for water main for the residents. And if you guys know anything about the South Side, when you have one break, it's going to be about 3 the same week. So the decision that the board has to make, the mayor has to make, are we going to move forward to try to get this $1 million, or are we going to continue delaying the bank recs because of the $78,000 that was allegedly stolen? So with that, I digress. So now with my report. Public Works is currently out doing stump removals as well as some tree removals. We had anticipated to start doing street sweeping this week. We hope to do that next week, but unfortunately I'm going to have a couple guys off, so I'm going to try to fit that in, but it will be done in April. We are starting hydrant and flush on the south side of town on the 20th and 21st. We will be doing shut off Monday and Tuesday of next week. So please come in and make a necessary arrangement if you need to get on a payment plan and see Ms. Lewis for that. But water will be shut off Monday and Tuesday of next week. Earlier, I did discuss Melanie's report, the air stripper. So you guys are aware of that. I'm in communication with Perry State to get roughly 3 interns to come in to help myself and Mr. Cooper to start and put together typing up policies and procedures. Because one of the things that we are not able to do at this time is sit down and actually physically type up reports. So hopefully we can get a couple of internships, and once I get that information from Perry State, I will send it to the attorney, make sure we're not liable for anything, because I think they pay the intern like $16 per hour for 25 hours a week. So that information is forthcoming. Also, the first Tuesday of May, I will have a company coming in to talk to the board about painting the water tower tanks. We just got one done within the last year and a half, and it roughly cost us $500,000. But with this particular company, what they do, they will agree to do all of our tanks, but spread the money out over like a 10-year period of time. So roughly, we might pay them like $150,000, $160,000 for the first 6-7 years, and they would take care of painting the tanks and then also the maintenance, and then put it on like a rotation. So every 10 years or so, they come back and repaint the tanks, so we don't have them look the way they look currently. I'm getting ready to have a training in Public Works for the bucket truck. That's the truck that they use to fix lights and cut down trees. That training is to take place in mid-May. The company's going to come out here and do a PowerPoint presentation as well as a hands-on demonstration. The guys in public are being cross-trained in all facets of the different jobs, even though they are got the same job titles. There's individuals that have only done certain tasks. Like for instance, I have really one person that changed, maybe two people that changed out the lights, but I'm gonna get the rest of the 7, 8 guys to be trained on how to go in and actually change the street lights, so that can hopefully alleviate some problems when I get the complaints that lights are out, because he's allowed to take vacation, and when he's out 1 or 2 weeks to go hunting, no lights get fixed. So we're gonna address that problem. Next Tuesday, I will have the accounting firm Selden and Fox come in and talk to the board about coming in and assist the finance department with whatever may be needed to get caught up, to get the audit caught up and also get it started. So they will be able to present, and then maybe hopefully work with Ms. Lewis to move that forward. A few months ago, we talked about updating our codes to 2021. That has finally pretty much been finalized. Myself and Mr. Cooper got to go through it and look at it, but they will be here as well next Tuesday. I think it's like 20 pages or something. And what I want them to do is come and explain to the board what part of our 2006 code that they updated and what information in the 2020 code that was not there previously. One of the things that I do know that they added to the code is the securing of the modular homes in town. Right now, we don't have a code or ordinance for that, so that's one of the recommendations that they're going to propose to the board next week. I've been getting a lot of questions from the residents concerning tree branches. Tree branches will not be picked up until the week of May 9th. So, but you can go ahead and, if you would like, put them out there now, and as the guys drive around, and they can gradually grab them. But as far as the chipper and the truck being out, that will not be out effective until May 9th. Also, I was talking to Republic because one of the concerns that I've been hearing is that they are not picking up bulk items. The residents are allowed to put out one bulk item a week. So for instance, if you put out 2 box spring mattresses, they will not pick up both mattresses. If you put out a box spring and a mattress, for some reason they pick that up because they look at it as one unit and not just 2 individual mattresses. So if you have bulk items, just put out one. And I also recommend that you call Republic and let them know that the bulk item is going to be out there, because a lot of time, depending on the truck that they bring, they might not have the right truck to pick it up and dump it in their dumpster. But you are allowed to have one bulk item out. With that, that concludes my report.
Trustee Grant?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Finch, I think this past weekend I sent you an email asking if you can send me a copy of the budget actuals, and you was sending me the email back saying that you don't get any financial information or something along those lines. I don't want to misquote you, but Ms. Lewis just said that she was never asked a question of a budget actuals. So would it be possible for us to get a copy of the most updated budget actuals? I'm assuming through February, hopefully March, if possible. Because I think, like Trustee Williams mentioned earlier, we do end our year in 2 weeks, and we are planning for next fiscal year, and we can't even start next fiscal year's, well, we shouldn't even start next fiscal year's budget without even knowing where this fiscal year is currently at or stands. So, I mean, that's really, and then regards to the budget actuals itself, one of the issues that we saw last time was that the revenue was not correct. It just wasn't, I don't know if it wasn't posted correctly in the proper months, it just looked weird. So if that's something that we can get, that'd be great, and I think that'll just help, obviously, start the next year's budget if we just have that as a starting point for the month ending February or March.
Well, you did email me this weekend. At that particular time, and as Ms. Lewis said, I didn't know that time she was the Interim Finance Director. However, as we mentioned earlier, I'm not involved with that part of it. I have not, in the last year, ran a budget to actual like I have done in the past. I have not analyzed it. I think, again, because that was mentioned earlier, that would be on the finance department. So I would, if Ms. Lewis has questions or need input from me, I'll gladly give her input. But as far as going in and running the budget actual, I'll be honest to tell you, I probably won't do it unless I'm directed by the mayor to run budget to actual. At this point in time, I would not do it. And part of the reason I don't want to do it, and Mr. Trustee Coleman, you asked if I can, would Ms. Lewis be willing for me to help with the finance department? With all due respect, personally, for me the answer is no. And I say that because if I was talking to, as a director of operation, and there was a gentleman named Paul that was accused of this $78,000, I would advise the board not to put Paul anywhere near the finances until this is resolved. And since this is me, I will respectfully ask that I'm not asked to be involved with the finance until this is resolved. I will assist and answer any question based on my experience, but I don't want to touch something that was started by somebody else that has accused me of doing something. 2022 audit, I have no problem with doing it because it's a fresh start. But 2021, I don't want nothing to do with it because I don't want it coming back. Well, the reason we can't find the $78,000 is because he hid it somewhere again. I want a fresh start. Let the chip fall where they may. So to answer your question respectfully, Trustee Grant, no. I would not run budget actual unless I'm directed by the mayor. To answer your question, Trustee Coleman, no. I would not work to get the audit caught up unless I'm directed by the mayor. And that's my comment.
Mr. Mayor, this one's directed to you. If it's at all possible, I'm sorry, every time I say something, he laughs. Mr. Mayor, if at all possible, can we add a budget to actual update on the next committee agenda for discussion? Okay, it's just a simple question. We are at the end of the month. And Mr. Finch, I respect you even more now because of what you just said. Thank you.
Okay, Community Development Director Antonio Cooper.
Good evening, Mayor, Madam Clerk, Board of Trustees, Department Heads, guests, and residents. Just want to, every week, every board meeting, I just want to reiterate for everyone to come out and volunteer with the community and Habitat for Humanity to clean up vacant properties and work on other small projects in the village. All you have to do is be age 14 plus, and you're welcome. So you can do this with your children, your grandchildren, and it's really a good thing to do to teach them about community. And please contact Holly Pope. She can be reached at 708-231-0758. The dates that are set right now are June 17th and September 16th. And those times are 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Everybody will meet at the library on Jeffrey. Also would like to let everyone know that the University of Illinois Extension is hiring, and they're hiring community outreach workers to help neighbors and community members make positive changes to their health by teaching classes and providing resources on nutrition and physical activity. I've actually left some flyers at the door there. So if anybody has someone that they want to recommend for those positions, those are available at the back of the room. I'm happy to say that our Strong Communities 1.0 grant reimbursement was submitted today. And we are anticipating putting those funds back into the water fund account within 4 to 6 weeks. So it's really a great thing. It's really a great opportunity for IDA to have afforded us this opportunity to really revitalize our community on a critical mass type of opportunity. So if we're not just doing this, 1 or 2 properties at a time, we're hoping to do blocks at a time. and provide those properties as sealed bid auction opportunities. So that's a really exciting thing that's going on right now in Community Development Department. For the period of June 1st, 2022 through April 11th, 2023, for business licenses, we've collected $61,603.03. There's no change to that as of today. Business licenses will expire April 30th. So we are actually getting some applications now. So we hope to, that all those will come in on time. Contractor licenses, 73,600 collected. We've collected a total of 297. Permits for in-house revenue is 50,885 with a quantity of 269. There's no change on that. Safe bill revenue is $24,595.29 for a total of 462 permits in that time period. We've written 1,028 tickets, and we've for a total of $70,714.85. And the amount paid to date is $18,489.85. There's no change there. And so if there's no questions, that ends my report. Thank you.
Trustee Grant?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Coleman, a couple questions. First question is, how's the process going with acquiring those properties? We haven't heard anything in quite some time. We passed it probably a few months ago now. Are we close to acquiring any properties? That's my first question. And my second one is, you just mentioned that the Strong Community 1.0 reimbursement will go to the water fund. Do those expenses come out the water fund, or do they come from the general fund?
Yes, those expenses did come out of the water fund, so they will be replaced there. We have been working with the attorneys on the packets. We got the packets pretty much ready to go. The last piece of the puzzle right now is for us to put the reports together. And so I know I've been kind of like working, pretty much by myself since I didn't have an assistant. So that actually really affected the program and pushed it back a lot because from day to day, I'm working at the front counter and, helping people, and then, I'm getting questions from Safe Build and sending documents back and forth to them. So it's really busy during the day, and I spent, I don't know how many hours on this grant reimbursement, because for each property, and we submitted like 96 properties, that you have to have flood mapping, you have to produce an assessment from the assessor's office, and that's for each one of them. So I spent a heavy amount of hours on that. So now I'm going to be focusing on getting those reports, because when I did have an intern, and thank you, Madam Clerk, for providing that, we had a young man named Justin. He helped me put all the packets together. So all the packets are ready. We just got to send out just a report, like what's wrong with the property for each property. And so that's the last piece of the puzzle right there. I think we're going to be expecting to start getting some properties under our belt where we can actually start our first sealed bid auction probably around September or October, I'm thinking.
Okay, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
I need to get that report that you have so we can get it up to the clerk. The report that you just got through reading, did you get a copy to the clerk? Okay, reports of standing committees and trustee comments, public health and safety, Trustee Gary Bell.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to thank my fellow board members for the little get well gift. Mr. Farmer, thank you. Kudos to the department heads. Good luck, Renee. Good luck in your new job. Mr. Finch, doing a good job. Anthony, and Chief. Yeah, same thing. But I'm working my way out the door. If there's things that you need to get done, Trustee Coleman, please don't forget about my thing we're working on. Thank you. And thank you to the residents for all the concern when I was in the hospital. Thank you.
Okay, public safety, Trustee Aretha Burns.
Thank you, Mayor. The Public Service Committee meeting, we will have one April the
Okay, orders review, trustee Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our next committee meeting will be on April the 24th, on Monday at 7 p.m. here. Again, that's Monday, April 24th, here at 7 p.m. And that concludes my report.
Okay, budget, finance, audit, trustee Rodrick Grant.
Thank you, Mayor. No report.
Okay, housing and government relations, trustee Jasinski.
Thank you, Mayor. No report.
Okay, community development, trustee Debbie Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Sauk Talk articles are due. I'm going to give you a couple extra days. Monday, April 17th, tax day, because the 15th is on a weekend. So Monday the 17th, please add some things that are going on in your department. It's very important that we communicate with the residents. The last Sauk Talk was released at the first of every month. We try to get it out. It's always available on the Sauk Village website. There's a little yellow ribbon on the right-hand side at the front page of the website that says backed by popular demand. That's how you access the Sauk Talk. The last Sauk Talk had the blood drive included in that. The blood drive is May 6th. We are back to doing our blood drives again. They asked us to please start having them again. I'm very glad to bring them back. So May 6th from 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the Senior Center. Please donate blood. It's extremely important. We have a lot of people that depend on our donations. One donation can save up to 3 lives. Also in the Sauk Talk this month, we continue to have the Veteran Home Repair Program. There's an application process in the Sauk Talk that expires on May 1st. Also in the Sauk Talk, there's the Sauk Village Community Conversation that Thursday, April 27th at the Sauk Village Municipal Center at 5:30. That is presented by the Village of Sauk Village, IDA, and Habitat for Humanity. So please, any other questions, it's in the Sauk Talk. We also have, as the chief alluded to earlier, we have chat with the chief on every third Thursday. That information is also in the Sauk Talk. And then we have the Community Cleanup Day, which I'm not sure if you wanted to speak on that, Madam Clerk, but I think last week she asked me to discuss the fact that we have a recycling event that day, April 22nd, during the Earth Day cleanup, and that is going to take place from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Sauk Village Community Partners, along with Commissioner Donna Miller. There's going to be a prescription drug take-back and electronic recycling and paper recycling, all unwanted paperwork. Remove all paper clips, binder clips, and rubber bands. The Cook County Sheriff's Office is going to be handling that for us. And finally, I touched on this lightly for the last couple weeks, but we have a benefit coming up for our own trustee, Gary Bell. It's going to be May 6th at 5 p.m. at the Chicago Heights Moose Lodge. That's 2911 East Sauk Trail in Chicago Heights. I'm going to say a little bit more than I said before because time is coming near. Gary is in need of a kidney transplant. In 2015, he was diagnosed with diabetes and kidney failure. Since July 2021, he has begun dialysis and is now in stage 5 renal failure. Help Gary by attending the raffle, by attending the benefit, or by donating a raffle basket. There are several of us working on that endeavor with Gary because we support Gary because he supported our residents for so many years, whether it was as a firefighter, ESDA, or now currently a trustee. So any questions on any of those things, please feel free to reach out. And please don't forget the Sauk Talk articles are due on Monday, tax day, April 17th. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Okay, reports of committees and commissions. The Senior Advisory Committee, can somebody get him a mic? Chairman Emmett.
Thank you, Mayor. My report for today, April 11th, from the Senior Advisory Council. Our next meeting for the Senior Advisory Council is this Thursday, April 13th at 5 p.m. in the Senior Center. All are welcome. Again, times for game night are from 4 to 8 and every second and fourth Friday. And of course, it has started back. We will have one this Friday. Come on, join us for games such as Bid Whist, Bunko, Dominoes, and more. Also, our breakfast bingo is back, and we have been having a great breakfast bingo here lately, every first and third Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Senior Center. Come and enjoy breakfast and play bingo with us. Also, our first casino trip of the year has been booked for Wednesday, May 3rd. The cost will be $40 per person, and the casino will be giving back $25 for gaming and food on arrival. And that's going to be at the Four Winds Casino in Michigan. All money is due by April 21st. The bus leaves at 10 a.m. from the senior center, so we are asking guests to arrive between 9 a.m. and 9:30 for donuts and coffee and for boarding. Also, CETA will be here, will be coming to the senior center on Monday, April 24th and May 22nd from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So be sure to spread the word and let the residents know that they can come and meet with CETA on those days. Also, I got a text from Tammy Jones of the school board, and I guess she couldn't be here. She just asked me to announce it. But it looks like they're having a 5K run and walk, and that's Saturday, April 15th. So that's this Saturday at the beautiful, I don't know how to pronounce it, Sauk Field. And that's across the street from Bloom High School. And the gates open at 7 a.m. and I guess the event starts at 8 a.m. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. New business. I'll ask for a motion to approve transfers, payroll, and accounts payable distributions in the combined amount of $308,659.06, and authorize the finance department to remit payments.
So moved. Second.
Moved by trustee Jasinski and second by trustee Bell. Madam Clerk. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Question, yes.
Yeah, now, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did this for Madam Clerk. Madam Clerk, your expenses on here, all these are paid for out of pocket? You pay?
No. You guys advised that I not spend any money out of pocket again, so I do believe in being obedient. So therefore, it was recommended that I ask for cash advances after I get either the cash advance and or the checks approved. Then I can go ahead and conduct the business that's needed. It's from 3 different accounts. It's not all one account.
And then whatever is left over that's not spent.
That is returned, but usually every time I have an event, I end it with a complete overview of revenue received and expenditures. And what's left over, I return back, and it would be returned back to each individual line, because as I said, there are 3 different line items there that I'll be pulling from.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Jasinski?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Bell?
Yes.
Trustee Burns? Yes. Trustee Coleman?
Yes.
Trustee Grant?
Yes.
Motion carried. All right, the next item, I'm going to ask for a motion to postpone the action on items, number 12A and 12B. And hopefully we can get by next week. That's the date I'm looking for, that we can discuss it by next week. Hopefully we can get everything back.
Yes, sir.
So that'll be next Tuesday. So I'll ask for a motion to postpone this action until such time.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee Jasinski, second by trustee Coleman. Any questions? Madam Clerk.
It was my understanding that when this motion was asked to be postponed to a later date, that generally when you postpone, you provide the date that you will be coming back to address it. You stated that you felt that it would be coming back soon. However,
Next week.
but generally you would say a date. And if it is postponed and it's not a special meeting, no, you didn't.
No, it'll be next Tuesday at the committee meeting, which would be the 11th. No, I'm sorry, the 18th.
But we can't take action at a committee meeting, and these are actionable items.
So,
Okay.
I motion to have a special meeting on this time.
No, you can't do that, no. So you just say, okay, that's what I was asking you, will everything be ready to discuss next week? In other words, the contract or whatever, everything, will it be ready next week at the committee meeting?
They'll be ready this week. And so I need to do a special meeting so we can go ahead and vote on it. We have one company that has to add the attorney's changes. And so once that's done, we're ready to move on.
Okay, but you don't know when that's gonna be.
That will be.
Because once you call for a meeting, everything's not done, you'll be doing the same thing we're doing right now.
Everything will be done. We just have one change to make from the attorney, and we're good. So I will do a special meeting Friday, so we can do it.
Especially, I won't, that Friday's not gonna work.
Okay, Thursday?
My question to you, Trustee Burns, is this.
Okay, so attorney, we can do a committee of whole following the committee meeting next Tuesday.
Huh? No, next Tuesday is committee of the whole.
Call special meeting immediately following the whole, because they can have a chance to discuss it and review it.
And we will. Okay. Then we will have a special meeting.
No, okay.
Motion.
What I'm trying to get, you can't just call a special meeting like that, that's what I'm saying. What I'm asking you is, because even after that meeting, it would not be everything. In other words, you have a lot of different things on here. And, well, do you think that's what I'm asking, do you think all of the contracts?
Yes. Yes. All of the contracts have already been submitted to the attorney. She gave me her changes to give to the company.
Okay.
I have submitted those to the companies.
Okay.
And now they're just adding those changes to the contract to resubmit to the attorney.
And I'm looking at a few things that I was asking about last week, but I'll ask right now, the motion is to postpone this particular action and also to, we can call for a special meeting after the committee of the whole, if you want to call it to vote on these contracts.
So we
But
will.
right now, we're having a motion on the floor to postpone this act.
Yes.
And then and to bring it back next Tuesday.
And special meeting.
Yes.
Yes. So you really asking to amend that motion?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay, I'm asking to amend that motion so we can add on that we will have a special meeting after the committee meeting next week.
Yes, yes,
So moved.
Yes.
It was never voted on, so I'm asking the higher ups, is this the correct way?
Well, if we amend the motion, that's itself a motion, so then we have to vote.
Okay. So then it's so we don't have to amend it, just,
Your amendment is to have this postponed until a special meeting next Tuesday following the vote.
correct.
And then we vote on that.
Okay. Okay, that's what we did, okay. All right, Madam Clerk.
So right now, we're getting ready to vote on the motion to postpone to next week
Tuesday,
for a
yes.
special meeting.
Yeah.
So we can take a vote please. Okay? That is strictly to amend that original motion. Then after that, you're voting for a special meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Pardon me? Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Bell?
Yes.
Trustee Burns? Yes. Trustee Coleman?
Yes.
Trustee Grant?
Yes.
Trustee Jasinski?
Yes.
Okay, now I'll ask for a motion to have a special meeting next week after the committee meeting for the purpose of discussing and voting on the contracts.
Second.
Moved by trustee Coleman, I'm sorry, trustee Bell, second by trustee Coleman. Any questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
last week, when this was first brought to our attention, the proposal included the deposits, the 50% down payments that were required for each of these vendors. Can we include that in the meeting next
Well,
week?
yes, you should include that.
Yes, so it would be approving the vendors
Yes.
as well as their deposits.
And then,
At
I
the
just want to
special
give
meeting.
her a heads up also, Ms. Burns, trustee Burns. If I were you, I would look at, for what you proposed and what you presented, the security and the police department and everything like that. I would kind of make sure, because those numbers I said, like I said last week, didn't sound right. So, I would, find out from the police, fire, and, what is it, ambulance. Make sure those numbers are correct.
They are, I have invoices from everyone.
Got invoice from the police department?
I have, the only thing, I have a text from the police department, Commander Jeff Evans, he texted me where his numbers are.
Oh,
So I
okay.
emailed him and just asked him to give those numbers.
Okay, I just want to make sure that you do, because when we vote it out, then that's it, so, okay. Is there a question? Because is there a question pertaining to motion? Yes, sir.
So the only question I have is, in regards to the 50% deposits, so are you gonna be asking the board to cut immediate checks, because therefore, next week when you ask for the vote and you ask for the deposit as well, you will have to cut an immediate check, that's Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever the case may be, or Wednesday, I assume. So that's gonna be, I think, a separate colon that we're gonna have to take as well, right? No, I'm not holding on something, like a vote at the special meeting to cut the immediate check. Because we're voting, we still have to cut the check as well. So that's gonna be a agenda item, I assume, right, Mr. McGrath, or,
Isley.
Sorry.
Sorry, a separate motion.
Yes, correct, because we're voting on the actual approval of the contracts, but she also has to take the deposit to these vendors, so therefore we have to cut immediate checks to take to them the next day or whatever, so after.
Council, sir, could you speak to the mic?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, complete, if you'd like to bring a separate motion to cut the check, with the order of the person who's in charge of the checkbook to cut the check.
Okay, we do that at the meeting.
That makes sense.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Madam Clerk?
I need to know who's moved and
I think it was moved by Bell and second by Coleman.
Trustee Bell?
Yes.
Trustee Burns?
Yes.
Trustee Coleman?
Yes.
Trustee Grant?
Yes.
Trustee Jasinski?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Okay. All right, general comments for the mayor, and then we're going to, executive session. I just want to say one thing, and then I'm not going to, I hope to leave, I won't have to keep saying this. But this is a business meeting that we have, each and every second and fourth Tuesday, to vote on business items. I have no problem with asking questions. I'm not on my time to stand there. I have no problem with asking questions. But when it gets to the point where we start debating, going back and forth because you didn't get the answer you wanted, yes, I will cut that off. I'm here every day. I see trustees come in, they want to stop at my office or ask questions, but when we start doing this here, it seems to me that it's only for one reason, and that's to, I won't say showboat, but it's whatever you want to call it. But I'm just going to say this. do that again, back and forth, I will shut that down. But that's not what the people are here for. That's not what we're supposed to be here for. We're to conduct business. If you think you're gonna belittle someone or whatever, okay, fine. That's what you wanna do, but I will call you out on it. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn to, I'm sorry, a motion to go into executive session for, I don't even know what, I don't know if the lawyers have anything to update, but it says here, recess to executive session for personnel matters, update and pending litigation, collective bargaining, review executive board meeting minutes, employment and compensation. I ask for a motion.
Second.
Moved by trustee Bell, second by trustee Williams. Madam Clerk.
Trustee Burns? Yes. Trustee Coleman?
Yes.
Trustee Grant?
Yes.
Trustee Jasinski?
Yes.
Trustee Williams?
Yes.
Trustee Debt?
Motion carried.